welcome you all for this panel discussion. And the next topic for discussion is negotiation mistakes, what every leader makes, right? So what happens over a period of time when you get an experience, you also get better off in your negotiation. And we learn a lot of skills and ideas and process of negotiation over a period of time. But this is at a professional level. But at an individual level, we keep negotiating with a lot of people, right? And for various things. And we are going to discuss about that, right? So let's open up a discussion with some of those negotiation what you had, and you felt that that negotiation was successful and you got a positive outcome out of that at the time of closing the negotiation, and then you found a big failure thereafter.
Maybe in the earlier stage, I think it could be 15 years or even before, right, in the earlier career. Now also, not that then, now also I have this inquisitiveness of learning new things always, right? Pick up more responsibilities, horizontally, vertically all the time. I pick up new things. So one of the role which I'm a finance person, right? I never thought I would pick up is the management role. But then it came up in a consulting firm, in one of the big four which I was part of, and I picked it up. Then that transformed into another management role in another organization. I thought, okay, it's because I've been doing this role and that's what I got, and I did not think of what level, what comp or anything. I was more inclined to the reason that the project for which they are hiring me to do that. So the reason for that role was created and for which I was negotiated. Later on, after joining that, I came to know that it was had at a much lower level and a much lower, which I did not meant at that very early in the stage. But I still believe, even though the negotiations I could have done it better, but I learned it along the way to do the market correction later on. But what helped me was to turn around that role to be more bigger after reaching that organization. So I learned after doing the incorrect negotiations, learning after to make the role big enough so that I could get to the next level.
Engagement we negotiated, and I think unfortunately at that time the client was in a bind, right? There was regulatory pressure, etc., etc. So they had to sign. I think the mistake we made was, and I was one of the people from our side who was negotiating, I think we negotiated too hard, right? And for the next 3 years, I had to deal with a little bit of resentment in the heart of the other side, saying that, boss, when my time was bad, you busted me. And it was the most difficult engagement I ever delivered, right? Because they were trying to extract every last ounce of blood from me for 3 years. And
so you regretted for winning that negotiation?
Yeah, I wish I had not. I wish I had left off the last 5%. It would have given me another 50% of benefits in the next 3 years. Right? So sometimes you have to know when to make sure that the other party is also leaving with a win.
I think this 3 years is very interesting because I'm also got stuck in a negotiation which was locked in for 3 years and still living with the dynamics of that. But to give you an example, Professor, I became an entrepreneur quite early in my life, 2000, when I started my first venture. And I think my initial mistakes were accepting the first offer, because probably in my eagerness of pulling it through, I will accept the first offer, and then I would realize that I could have negotiated better. And I think even today, if I like a project, I'll probably pick it up because I'm liking the project. I think I'm still repeating those mistakes, but today I can live with it. But I think at that point of time, I still feel that if I had negotiated better, the journey would have been very, very different. So yeah, just a thought there.
Yeah. For me, I feel that I'm always a bad negotiator because, but what I always feel is, coming from the IT side, you meet a lot of vendors, you have to do a lot of negotiation, this price and this, okay, add on this support and this maintenance contracts and stuff like that. I always tell the sales guy that I am being very honest with you, right? But do I get the same level of honesty from your side? I don't know about that. What are you really playing with me in terms of your margins or your profit, whatever? We don't know that part. So it's always a learning curve. I mean, I just want to leave that. I don't know whether it's good or bad, but I'm always learning. But I always feel, like you said, I always try to do a win-win for both of us. It shouldn't be that I'm cutting him short, so that then I suffer afterwards, or it shouldn't be other way around where he's charging me a bomb and then I discover later on that hey, you're charging me 2x, 3x or whatever. So yeah, so I think it's always that that handshake that has to happen between the vendor and the consumer and the buyer kind of a thing.
So, take an example, right? We are in the engineering company for 2 decades, right? And then we have been usually doing projects like growing and doing projects in pockets, and then at a time when you reach and you start doing negotiation on what we call as a technical scale, right? I have this. So can I own this project completely from here? And then I have done that negotiation after a lot of these things. I have done this for 3 generations. By the way, I've hired these people from different competitors, so I have more strengths. I know what customer needs, the technology, and then win that negotiation based on a technical angle. And what I figured it out that my team does not have what we call as a project management and those experience to ensure that you can solve the toughest problem, but it doesn't meet the price, doesn't meet the schedule, doesn't meet some of those things. And I ended up goofing up on that projects by doing some of the best. I thought I have optimized the best, but it didn't meet the business sense on cost and schedule.
Yeah.
I think one of the things that that I have realized very late, and I don't think so, I still do it very well, is when to walk away. I think
supposed to ask that question next.
When to walk away. So I'll tell you. So of course, like you said, on the personal side, I can hardly negotiate, but more on the professional side of it, I think, and being in HR, I think a lot of times you have these people situations. Whether you're hiring a great guy, or you're wanting to retain a person who's great, I think there's always this time where you have to say, okay, either walk away or give time for that decision to sink in. Let the other person think through. In the rush to close things, because they sound more logical to you today, you don't get enough time to probably reflect back and go over what that person was saying. We were discussing about body language, the words. So you have to kind of ponder over and then come back and take that decision. So sometimes it's okay to either let some time pass, because these are human decisions and you have to kind of live with it for long, or walk away. And walking away is the most difficult part in a negotiation, I guess. So that's what I've realized. I still don't do it very well, but that's something I've realized. I've done quite a bit of rushed up things.
What I have normally realized, and when I self-introspect, right, what's going on, it's very easy for the decision making to reach a point where the decision becomes neutral. So for example, let's say you're going for a job, right? At what salary does it make sense? It's very easy. You will not give in before that. I think the trick is, the benefit is, beyond that point, how much more can you get? Is, in my view, the true art of negotiation, right? And to how much can you get before this whole goes away? Going to the walk away point, right? I think in that gap is where the maximum benefit can be extracted from the situation.
Where your negotiation skills can be tested.
And I think sometimes I have come to believe that oftentimes when you're up against a very good negotiator, you have to reach a point of walking away. Otherwise, and sometimes they'll fake a walk away just to let you think that you won it. So all those things kind of, probably you're the expert here, but I'm guessing a lot of those things.
I'm not an expert. Yeah. So thanks for sharing those stories. I had one instance when I was trying for my first job. I was completing my PhD in full time, and all that what I was earning till then was a stipend what we get when we do PhD. And those days in 2004, my stipend was about 15,000 rupees per month, right? And I was pitching for my first job, and I went all the way and I was negotiating for the salary with them, and they asked how much you want, right? And I said I need 20,000, right? Then I asked why you need 20,000 a month. I said currently I'm getting 15 without doing anything, Now you will make me to teach, right? So you have to give me 20,000. And they negotiated and all that, and finally they agreed for 20,000. So I was so happy that I negotiated well. And I picked up the appointment order, and I joined. And very first day I found that I was the low paid employee in the whole organization. And some of the clerks were paid more than me, right? I felt so disappointed for the negotiation what I did. And then I figured out that in negotiation, there is something called asymmetry of information plays a big role, right? What is being offered and is it good from the other side, and what am I negotiating for? So those days when you don't have internet and all this, which are not so popular, it becomes quite difficult for me to analyze what is a kind of offer what they might make, and what is the organization stands for, who are the employees. Then I understood that you should never get into a negotiation table without a proper research and having enough information. This is something what I